Chapter 2 To the Misty Mountain. The world has a habit of forcing you down a path you don't want to take. Under the rolling sound of the train wheels of fate, human beings are no more than little ants struggling silently. These thoughts were running through my head as I boarded the big truck heading from Mandalay to southern Shan State. In my hand, I was still holding my father's old map, covered in blood. Although the name Nathur village is found on the map, in fact, when I asked the locals in southern Shan State, there was no one who knew about it. Fortunately, I got a clue from an elderly ancestor in the city of Kala that many years ago it was a remote and isolated place deep in the forest, no driveway. The mountain road is very narrow and steep. The winter wind blows to seep into the bones. The entire environment was surrounded by a dark fog. The shadows of the big trees were terrifyingly beautiful, like an evil outstretched hand in the fog. My footsteps in this deserted forest road, I could not hear any sound except the sound of trampling the dry leaves. It was so quiet that I could even hear my own heartbeat. At that moment, I suddenly saw a shadow moving from the east of a bend in the fog. My steps automatically stopped, and I reached for the folding knife in my pocket. A young girl slowly appeared from the fog. He is dressed in traditional Shan clothes. He carried a small basket on his shoulder. The skin is as white as snow. The long hair was blowing chaotically in the wind. Her face was beautiful, but it was so cold that it lacked the color of blood. The strangest thing is why the girl is alone in such a deserted and rough forest road. When she was a few steps away from me, she stopped her steps and stared at me intently. It was too cold to read any emotion in those deep. Is this the road to Nat T village, right? I started to ask. She nodded her head. Then he just curled his lips and smiled. Yeah. Can the visitor go to the village of Natty? We haven't had a visitor for many years. Her voice was too high, but I could hear it clearly as it echoed in my ear. There is clarity in the sound but no liveliness. I'm looking for a person. I've heard that the name is Euthela, I said, stuttering, and her eyes seemed to be shocked for a second, but immediately returned to normal. Euthela. Well, get. My name is unknown. I will show you the way. It doesn't take much to get to the village. I also had to hide my doubts for a while and follow her. The forest road became more dark. As I was walking, I smelled a strange smell from the mafu oil in the air. Not a flowery scent. The smell of withered and rotting dead bodies. Specifically, the smell A shiver ran down my spine. This girl, normal, right? My skepticism peaked. Ma White, are there many people looking for it? Whoa, my fingers her basket string. In other words, in the split second that the edge of her shoulder blade touched. Hold on. I screamed in surprise and quickly pulled my hand away. My heart was beating out of my chest so fast when you touch it. You can't see any past image. Instead, I felt like I was falling into a cold, endless darkness. A person must have a breathing sound. Pulse the feeling out. White turned around. Her cold eyes stared at me. Why, yeah, did you slip? Whoa. After another half hour of walking in silence, the fog had thinned a bit and I could see a large old wooden portal ahead. Above the portal, the document Nat T was discolored and barely legible. Next to the gate is a very large old banyan tree. The roots of the banyan tree are twisted like snakes on the ground. The big branches were black as if blocking the sky. We have arrived. Guest, Ma Pu whispered as he stepped through the portal. I was about to step down under the portal. Suddenly, I heard the sound of something swinging from above, the sound of a branch and a rope rubbing. Cooey, cooey. When I looked up, the sight that I saw made my whole body freeze as if the blood froze. A man was hung by a noose around the neck from one of the biggest branches of the banyan tree. The corpse was already quite old. Two eyes protruded outward. The big tongue hangs down to the chest, swaying left and right in the winter breeze. But that wasn't the worst of it. The most frightening thing was that the stiff right arm of that body swaying in the wind was not hanging down, but was stretched forward, and the dead man's finger hovering in the air was pointing directly at my face standing under the arch. They are waiting for you. Yeah, I couldn't help but be startled by Ma Pu's whistling voice coming from behind. And when I turned around, there was not even a trace of Ma Pu in the fog, but he had disappeared like a puff of smoke blown away by the wind. The hanged corpse silently testified that I had officially reached the brink of death.